It had been 4 market days since Folari disappeared. Mrs. Bose, Folari's wife, stared at the wall in silence. It had been 4 market days her husband Folari left for the market and never returned. His phone rang only once. Since then, she hadn't heard anything. His wallet and shoes were still in place. Nothing made sense. She asked neighbors. She called his friends. She visited hospitals.
I'm so sorry.
She even filled a missing person report. No one had seen him. Each night she would cry quietly, holding his pillow like it held his warmth. She whispered his name like a prayer. Fola, where are you? She began having strange dreams. In one dream, she was standing at a river, watching 2 people walk into the water. In another, she heard drums, soft but haunting. And always, there were shadows dancing behind her eyes. Her heart knew something was wrong. This was not normal. Her husband didn't just walk away. Then one morning, a neighbor approached her with a whisper. There's a woman called Madam Grace. She sees things. Go to her. Mrs. Bose didn't even hesitate. She left her house that same afternoon, heart pounding, praying someone could give her answers. Madam Grace's house was not too far. Soon, Bose got to the house and knocked on the door. She opened the door slowly. Madam Grace stood there, calm and still, like someone who had just walked out of a dream. Her eyes were steady but distant. Please, Mrs. Bose said, tears already filling her eyes. My husband is missing. Madam Grace opened the door wider and told her to come in. Bose entered and sat down, her hands trembling as she told her story of how Folari vanished. How her dreams were full of waters and drums. How her heart felt like it was sinking every day. Madam Grace didn't interrupt her. When Bose finished breathing heavily from crying, the woman said, go home. Come back in 2 days. I will pray about it. That night, Madam Grace turned off her phone. She turned on her light and sat cross-legged on the floor. No food, no distraction, only soft whispers of prayers. The next night, a dream came to her. She saw Omiyale in a glowing white gown, smiling. Folari was beside her, holding her hands. Eyes blank, no memory of his life. They were walking towards the river and then they vanished into the water. Madam Grace woke up breathing fast. It is her, she whispered. The water girl that came to the market that day. She has taken him. That morning she called Bose. When the woman arrived, her eyes red from sleepless nights. Madam Grace sat her down gently. Your husband is alive, she said, but not here. He is under. Bose blinked. Under? Under what? The water, Madam Grace said slowly. A mermaid spirit came to the market 4 days ago, looking like a beautiful lady. She's the one who took him. I saw them in my dream. She held his hands and led him into the river. Bose gasped and dropped to her knees, holding her chest. No, he's my husband. He can't marry someone else. Madam Grace took her hand and said firmly, it is not over. But if we don't act quickly, he will forget you forever. The wedding is soon. If they seal it, he may never return. They agreed to fight, not with fists, but with prayer. That evening, they cleared the center of Bose's living room. They brought Folari's photo, anointed it with oil, and began the prayers. Bose held his picture close, whispering, Fola, come back to me. You are mine. The hearts felt cold, the hair stiff, but their prayers rose like fire. And deep beneath the river, something stirred. Underwater, everything glowed. The water shimmered like liquid glass. Music floated in the air, soft, strange, and beautiful. Omiyale sat beside Folari. Her head rested on his shoulder. He looked straight ahead, smiling at nothing. You like it here? She asked. Yes, he said, though his voice sounded like it wasn't really his. Omiyale had waited long for this. Other guests had married long ago. She had always been alone, but now she had him. The queen mother came into the room, dressed in robes that sparkled like the ocean wave. He's ready, she said. The sea accepts him. He will carry our name well. Preparation for the wedding had begun. The maidens danced. The ocean wind blew softer. Everyone smiled. But one thing troubled Omiyale. Sometimes at night, Folari would mumble in his sleep, calling Bose. Omiyale would press her hand over his lip gently, trying to prevent him from calling that name. But deep down, she knew she hadn't fully forgotten yet. She had his body, but his soul was still somewhere else. And that was dangerous. Back on land, Bose grew weaker. Every night she fasted, every day she prayed. Her body was tired, but her spirit was burning. She and Madam Grace prayed deep into the night, holding Folari's picture and calling out his name with tears in their eyes. Then one night, something happened. The lamp in the living room went off. Bose fell into deep sleep and had a vision. She saw her husband standing in a golden bridge. On one side was Omiyale, smiling and holding out her hand. On the other side was Bose calling him, Fola, Fola, look at me. He turned confused. Who are you? He asked. Bose wept in the dream. I am your wife. Come back. Folari looked at both women. Then the dream ended. She woke up sweating. Her voice broke. He's forgetting me. Madam Grace nodded solemnly. Then we must increase the fire. Omiyale felt it too. Something was shifting. Folari was changing. He began asking strange questions. Where am I from? Why don't I remember my life? Why do I dream of someone crying? Omiyale grew cold. You don't need the past. You are mine now. Folari's spirit was waking. The Mariki don't notice it. Even the Queen Mother frowned. His mind is stirring, she said. This is dangerous. Omiyale begged. Give me more time. But time was running out. The sea began to tremble. Something was interfering. A power from land was breaking through. It was from Bose and Madam Grace. Every day, Folari's spirit began to wake up slowly. Thanks to the strong prayers of Mrs. Bose and Madam Grace. Their fasting, midnight prayers, and seed sowing were shaking the foundation of the marine kingdom. At first, the changes in Folari were small. He would sit alone, quietly thinking. He doesn't laugh like before. He doesn't hold Omiyale's hands or follow her around the palace like he used to do. Most times, he would stare into space, his eyes distant, like someone trying to remember something important. This made Omiyale very worried. She noticed that he no longer smiled when she entered the room. When she gave him food, he would say, I'm not hungry. When she asked him to come to the sea parties with her, he refused. He didn't even want to be touched. Omiyale became sad. Her perfect love story was falling apart. Meanwhile, on land, Mrs. Bose refused to give up. She fasted more, prayed harder, and sowed seed in her husband's name. Her faith was strong, and her fire was real. And that fire made things worse for Omiyale under the sea. One day, Folari looked at Omiyale and said, I want to go home. Omiyale froze. But this is your home. Folari shook his head. No, this place doesn't feel like home. When the Queen Mother heard this, she knew that danger was near. If Folari remembered too much, he would leave them forever. So the Queen Mother acted quickly. She used her deep powers to cast a strong forgetting spell on Folari. It wiped away his memory, his past, his purpose, and even his emotions. But the spell worked too well. Folari didn't just forget the past, he forgot himself totally. His relationship with Omiyale collapsed. He became quiet and empty. Whenever Omiyale spoke, he just stared. If she tried to feed him with her own hands as a sign of love, he turned away. This broke Omiyale's heart. She fell into deep sadness. She stopped dressing up. She didn't sing or smile. She spent her days sleeping, refusing food and crying in secret. The Queen Mother watched all this and felt something unusual. Regret. She had gone too far in trying to keep Folari. She had destroyed him, and now even Omiyale was fading. So, for the first time, the Queen Mother sought help. She called upon an ancient power, one that could restore minds and awaken spirits. The ritual was long and painful, but finally it worked. Folari's eyes opened one morning, and something was different. His face lighted up. His voice returned. He turned to Omiyale and embraced her. Everything about Folari went back to normal. His love for Omi grew stronger every day. His memory of home disappeared completely, like someone trying to remember a dream that had faded. She didn't talk about his real home anymore. He believed the kingdom was his holy home. Madam Grace and Mrs. Bose, Folari's real wife, noticed this change. They could feel that his mind had turned away from them again, but they didn't give up. This time, they went on a serious 7 days fasting. Every day, they prayed deep and serious prayers. Their main prayer was this: Lord, anything he hit there should trouble him. Not long after, their prayer started working. At first, it was small. Anytime Folari ate food in the kingdom, he would itch. He thought it was a minor reaction, but the more he ate, the worse it got. Soon, red spots began to appear on his body. Then boils. It turned into something like chickenpox, but worse. The sickness spread across his skin, and a terrible smell followed him. His body began to smell so bad that no one wanted to come close to him. Even Omi found it hard to stay near him. They tried many things to heal him. They used herbs, spells, and magic oils. Nothing worked. The Queen Mother and her people were confused. How would this be happening to someone under their protection? In fear, they went to consult their gods. After performing sacrifices and chanting all night, the spirit spoke clearly.
Folarin is no longer welcome here. His time is up. His people are calling him with strong fire. He must return. That is why these problems started. He must go now.
The message was clear. Folari had to leave. The Queen Mother was angry, but she knew she could not fight the spirit world. The signs were too strong. The gods they served had spoken. Fola had become like a curse to them. He was smelling, covered in painful boils, and nothing they tried could heal him. A night before he could leave, Omi quietly opened the door to his room. He was lying on the mat, weak, cold, and shaking. His skin was covered in painful boils, and his once bright eyes looked far away, as if he no longer belonged here. Omi stepped inside slowly, her heart aching. She knelt beside him, afraid to touch him at first, but her love was stronger than fear. She reached out and gently held his hands, boil and all. Fola, she whispered, tears filling her eyes. I am here. I am still here. His eyes flickered opened, but there was no recognition, just emptiness. I love you, she said, brushing the sweat from his forehead. I love you from the start, and I still do. Suddenly, the door cracked again. The Queen Mother stepped in. She saw Omi sitting beside him, holding his hands tightly. The Queen Mother paused at the door, her expression unreadable. Then she walked forward slowly and knelt on the other side of Fola. Her eyes softened as she looked at him. I didn't want to lose you either, she said gently, but there are powers greater than me. They have called him back. Omi didn't move. She kept holding his hand, her tears now flowing freely. He was happy here, she said. He was mine. The Queen Mother sighed. Yes, but it was never meant to stay. The world he came from is calling loudly now. Folari stirred slightly. His lip moved, just barely. Omi. She gasped. Fola, you remembered me? But the spark faded just as quickly. His eyes fluttered shut again, and somewhere far away, a voice whispered, Folari, come home. On the day they were to send Fola home, the Mari kingdom gathered. The Queen Mother had called their strongest priestess, a tall, quiet woman dressed in sea blue robes. Her task was to undo the water covenant, to break the tie between Fola and the underwater world, so that he could return to the land of the living. But it did not just happen without a fight, because Omi, the woman who had loved him with all her heart, did not want to let him go. Omi rushed into the great hall before the priestess could begin. She fell to her knees, her long hair spilling across the floor like waves. Please, she cried, her voice breaking. Please don't take him away from me. He is mine. I love him. I gave him everything. A sob echoed through the water palace. The Queen Mother stepped forward and gently touched her shoulder. She spoke softly, but there was a weight in her words. You love him, I know, the Queen Mother said, but love could not keep what the gods had rejected. His body is no longer ours. His soul cried for his home. Omi shook her head violently, tears running down her face like rain. No, you can't. He belongs to me. Her voice cracked. She fell flat on the ground, sobbing like a baby, pounding the floor with her fist. In the doorway, Fola stood silently, leaning against the frame. He watched her cry. No words came out of his mouth. He just stood there, looking at her with tired eyes. Somewhere deep inside, something was pulling and calling him. Even though Miss Tears cut through his heart like a knife, he knew he could not stay anymore. The priestess stepped forward. Her eyes were closed, her lip moving quickly as she chanted ancient words. She drew a circle on the floor of the water palace and placed Fola inside it. The water around the palace grew still. Every sound went silent. Then, with a voice that sounded like the deep sea, she declared, "Let the covenant be broken. Let the man return to where he belongs." A strong wind rose inside the hall, swirling around Fola. Omi screamed and tried to run to him, but the queen mother held her back. Light surrounded him. In the blink of an eye, he was gone. Fola's body disappeared by the river bank on the land. He sat up slowly, coughing, his eyes empty and confused. He looked around. He did not know where he was. He did not know which way to go. He touched the ground, the grass, but nothing felt familiar. His mind was weak. His memory was broken. A night before Folari was sent back to the land of the living, Madam Grace had a dream. In the dream, she saw Folari. He was alone, barefoot and confused. His eyes scanned the horizon, but he did not know where to go. He looked lost, like someone trying to remember something very important, but unable to grasp it. Then she woke up, breathing heavily, her heart pounding. Madam Grace sat up on her bed. "That dream," she whispered. "He's coming back. It is time." The next morning, she told Mrs. Bosse everything. Without wasting time, they both rushed to the river bank, and there he was. Folari sat quietly by the edge of the water, his feet in the river, his clothes wet, his eyes open but dazed. He looked very alive, but not fully present. His skin, once covered in painful boils, was now clean. Madam Grace gasped. "It's him!" They both ran to him. "Folari," Bosse cried. He turned slowly towards them, confused. His voice was soft. "Where am I? What are you both doing here?" "You are back," Bosse said, kneeling before him. "Fola, you are back to us." He blinked, slowly taking their faces. "My wife. Where has my wife been all this while?" They exchanged a look. "It's a long story," Madam Grace said gently. "Let's go home first." At that moment, the last sign of chickenpox disappeared from his skin. It was as if heaven had wiped him clean. They took him home, cared for him, and slowly told him everything. Folari listened in silence. When they finished, he said only one thing. "I remember walking with a lady to the river bank. After that, I remember nothing." Bosse held his hand. "It doesn't matter anymore. You are home. Peace had returned." And truly, peace did return. Folari settled back into his home, surrounded by love, prayers, and grace. Bosse and Madam Grace gave thanks to God. Far away in the depth of the Marie Kingdom, life went on. The Queen Mother sat on her coral throne, watching the sea. She had accepted Folari's departure, but her heart still worried for Omi. Then one day, a strong wave announced the arrival of a new visitor. He was handsome, a noble spirit from the northern waters, tall, graceful, and radiant. His presence turned heads. He walked into the kingdom and saw Omi standing quietly by the sapphire fountain. Their eyes met. In that moment, something shifted. He smiled. She smiled back. Not long after, they were joined in a great wedding. The Marie Kingdom rejoiced. Omi had found love again, and this time it was pure, mutual, and meant to be. The Queen Mother stood at the edge of the coral throne and watched her daughter dance. For the first time since Fola left, Omi laughter rolled like waves across the Marie Kingdom. Her face, once heavy with sorrow, now glowed with joy. The Queen Mother closed her eyes and breathed deeply. At last, there was peace. She had learned a hard truth. The sea and the land could never truly belong to each other. Their words were different. Their destinies were different. What happened with Fola had left scars on both sides. but it had also brought understandings. Peace had returned to the land where Folana lived quietly with his wife, far away from the call of the deep, to the sea where Omi found a new love and a life that truly belonged to her. Two worlds, two hearts, each where they were meant to be. The end.